If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
DJ and PK, the Vegas Golden Knights took it 5-4 in double overtime from the Utah Mammoth on Wednesday night at the T-Mobile Arena to take a 3-2 series lead. Utah looked to force a Game 7 in Vegas on Friday night when they play the Golden Knights here at the Delta Center. Game 6 of the series, 8 o'clock face-off. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock live on the SeatGeek Plaza with Hockey Night in Utah. Jake and Ben will be involved in the pregame party as well, starting at 2. But on Wednesday night, Mammoth jumped up 1-0 in the first period. First career playoff goal for John Marino.
Schmaltz, Keller, and Krause stay out there. It'll be Schmaltz head-to-head with Brett Howden. Schmaltz wins another faceoff for Marino at the right point. Here's Keller walking the tightrope. Arrester misses wide. Marino scores! John Marino leads off the scoring for the Mammoth. Stashing in a loose puck, and it's 1-0 with 2:49 to go in the first period. Marino has been so good defensively all series, and now he chips in on the other end of the ice.
Vegas had tied on a power play goal late. We were 1-1 going to the second. In the second, Lawson Krause picked up his third goal of the playoffs. Utah got the lead back.
Kerfoot looking down low for Lawson Krause here in the Vegas end with 9.5 to go in the second period. Back out to neutral ice. This is Sergachev who turns it around the clock in the offensive zone. Now Krause open, scores! Keller set it up and Krause knocked it down. Mammoth back in front, middle of the second period. 2-1, and Lawson Krause has his third goal of the series.
Vegas, though, got 2 goals in a minute 40. It was 3-2 late in the second. Head coach Andre Turney called timeout. Got his guys settled down. They came out in the third. They tie it and take the lead. First, it would be Dylan Gunther.
Yamamoto ahead of 2-on-1 with Gunther. Yamamoto, Gunther shoots and scores! He's not next. He's now. Dylan Gunther scores his third of the series, and we are tied. Kyler Yamamoto set him up, and Dylan Gunther, the 23-year-old superstar who had 40 in the regular season, rifles one past a sprawling Carter Hart and drops down to a knee to celebrate.
And then Michael Carcone gave Utah the lead back at 4-3.
Here's Eichel controlling, and it's swiped away. Utah numbers ahead. Kerfoot and Carcone. Kerfoot moving in. Carcone a one-timer. Scores! Mammoth in front here in the third. Michael Carcone lights up Sin City, and it's 4-3. 7:18 to go in the third. Utah was surviving a Vegas push. Kerfoot took it ahead, floated it across on a 2-on-1, and Michael Carcone scored his second of the series to lift Utah ahead here in the middle of the third period.
Vegas tied it in the final minute of regulation to force overtime. We'd end up in double overtime before a shorthanded goal by Brett Howden would seal it. Let's hear from the guys after the contest, starting with associate captain Lawson Krause.
Away from a game like that.
Go win one at home. I think that's our focus.
A lot of extra hockey in that one. Were there areas of this game where you guys felt like you probably made it more difficult on yourselves?
Obviously we took quite a few penalties in the first half of the game. But no, I think, we battled hard. Obviously, sucked giving up that goal late in the third for them to tie it. But we pushed. We never stopped working, and, unfortunate ending. But like I said, we got to go win one at home.
You guys have always had that belief, always just focus on the next game. How important will that be in relying on each other to lift each other up?
Yeah, it's huge. I think, take a look at us now. We have to win. We got to step up and do it on our home ice. We got incredible fans back home waiting for us to come home, and we're excited to get going again.
How's Vegas made it hard for you guys to maintain leads in this series?
Yeah, they're a great team. It's playoff hockey. It's there's a lot of energy out there. There's a lot of highs, there's a lot of lows. They're a great team. They're playing really good hockey, but, we're also playing good hockey. There's still some things that we can improve on. We'll go over that and get back to it.
So what's the kind of experience you can draw back on when it comes to, they talk a lot about experience being under the other room. You guys are relatively new. What kind of experiences can you guys draw on to kind of get you over the hump and get that winning game 6?
I think you just learn things throughout the series. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to change. And, we're excited for the next game.
You guys pride yourself on being, character guys and close-knit group. Do you think this group has a chance to really bounce back in Game 6?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's zero doubt in this locker room.
Thanks, Austin.
John Marino becoming the 6th Utah defenseman to pick up a point in the playoffs on that first career playoff goal that you just heard. We heard from number 6 after the contest.
What is that?
Yeah, obviously the loss is pretty fresh, but, I think as we've seen the other games throughout the whole series, we're a resilient group. I think we know, the ebbs and flows of the playoff series. They win 2, we win 2. So, yeah, we got to be obviously ready to go.
As far as the takeaway, you guys were in control of this game for the most part. What were the positive things you liked about your game?
Yeah, that's what we got to take away, right? Like the confidence we have behind this group. Like we play a stick to our game. We know how effective we can be against them. So yeah.
Everyone's contributing in different ways. You got your first goal of the series tonight. What does it say about this group that everyone's pushing and contributing?
Yeah, it's a pretty deep group. Line after line, we just keep coming after them, and that's when we're at our best. We see that throughout the series, so that's what we got to get back to.
There's plenty of guys with experience in this room, whether it's playoffs or Worlds or whatever it is. How can everyone lift their own teammates up with that experience?
Yeah, obviously pretty fresh right now, but, talk about it tomorrow and the next day, and then, look to those guys, those leadership guys that have been through it, calm us down, get ready for the next one. That's what matters most.
When you get to double overtime, what's the balance of trying to give it your all, but also conserve your energy because you don't know how long you're going to be playing tonight? Yeah,
you just got to go line after line. Quick shifts, trust each other, and I'll play the similar game.
How has maturity and experience played a role over these last 2?
Yeah, I think it's been huge. Obviously not the result that we wanted, but I love our compete so far, and we were able to come back in some games too and respond really well. So we'll take that.
Coach took that time out in the end of the second. What was the reset button that you guys hit?
Yeah, I think just calm ourselves down a little. They get 2 quick ones, just kind of reset a little, and go from there.
What's the message and mentality going into Game 6?
Must win.
Gotta
win.
How much can the home crowd lift you guys up in Game 6?
Yeah, we're for sure going to be looking forward to that, for an advantage. We had a win at home. It was huge in the first playoff game there. So, we're going to need everyone.
Thanks, John.
And Utah captain Clayton Keller now 5 points in his last 3 games, 2 more points on Wednesday night. He's got multiple points in 2 of the last 3. Here's what the captain said after the game.
But we get to go home, play in front of our fans, and win a game at home.
What did you see in terms of the ebbs and flows of this game? Because there was a lot of extra hockey.
Like, what do you mean?
Just in terms of how the momentum shifts, how you guys were able to manage the pace. Obviously, it's a marathon, not a sprint in this game.
Yeah, I think, these playoff games, like I said before, I think each team's going to have a push, and I think we did, a good job of, weathering the storm a bit and then just attacking, using our speed. Those are our strengths, and that's what we have to do if we want to be successful. But, I think each game we're learning, we're getting better, and we have to continue to do that, watch video, adapt to what they're doing, and go from there.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
What's one or two things that this group has learned in this game, especially at double overtime?
I think you just got to stick with it. You can't change your game. Maybe when you get tired or, it's 2 extra periods of intense playoff hockey, like you just stay with it. Trust your teammates. I think line changes are huge. I think just, setting up the next line, getting the next zone, just playing simple and going at it that way.
That's very good.
Bear always says that don't change who you are in the playoffs, and you guys have always had faith. You guys have always bounced back. How can you channel that into this next game in Game 6?
Yeah, like I said, I think, we're a confident group, and we believe in one another and in our team, and I think, these are the most fun games to be a part of. Down 3-2, we get to go home, play in front of our fans, like I said. If you're not fired up for that, then you got something wrong with you.
Does the game change at all when you get to playoff overtime?
I don't know. I think you just try to do what makes you successful throughout the game, throughout the series. You learn their team's instincts and things that they like to do, and you try to break that down and get better each game at that. And I think just playing our game.
Does fatigue play a factor in a game that as intense as it is and goes into 2 overtimes?
I don't know. I think it's just you just have to continue what you do throughout the game. I think obviously both teams are gonna be a little fatigued for sure, but like I said, it's a team that sticks with it the longest and trust one another and just make the right play at the right time.
How did penalties play a factor in this game? Obviously, a big part of it, but how do you limit those in going into the next one?
We gotta check with our feet. Can't get our sticks in there, little things like that. But power play's got to be better. We got to find a way to score. They had one, and we had some looks, but that's something that we'll look at going into Game 6.
You mentioned the home crowd. How much could they lift this group up in Game 6?
Yeah, for sure. They've been amazing all year. Amazing the first 2 games at home. Definitely gives us a lot of energy, buzz, and we can't wait to go home.
How much has maturity and experience played a role over these last 2 games?
What?
How much has maturity and experience played a role in the outcomes of the last 2 games?
I think we're learning each game. They're a very good team. They've won before. They're experienced, but we don't back down from anyone. But I think each game, like I said, just try to get better. Who cares about that stuff really? I think we just trust one another. We're confident and go from there.
For Utah special teams, a struggle. Vegas scored on the power play and scored shorthanded. Utah 0 for 4 on the power play. Second straight game that Vegas wins in overtime. Second straight game that they score shorthanded and also win the special teams battle. Utah outscored the Golden Knights 4-2, 5-on-5 in the contest. So Utah's had a lead in all 5 games and in all 5 third periods so far. So they'll look to close it out and again force that Game 7 on Sunday in Vegas.
I think both teams play really hard. We were really close, unfortunately. Give that 6-on-5 goal and could not get it done in overtime. But really proud of the way the guys played. I still think there's a few things we can clean up and be a little bit better. I think we had a big improvement in our play since the last game, but still area I think we can get better. That's one thing. The other thing is Barrett Eaton this morning. I told you he was not playing, and I was not lying. He was not planned to play before the morning skate. And after I talked to you, I had a chat with him, and he was feeling really good, and he kind of he was not seeing what 2 more days will change. So we had a discussion with the medical team, and according if the warm up and everything was good and was playing. So that's what happened. So it was game time decision, but to be honest, after the morning skate, after my chat with him, it was more unless something go bad. But before that was not planned to play today. So.
All season long, you guys have bounced back. You've had that positiveness. This whole group has always believed that they could come back. How important will keeping that mindset be going into Game 6 at home?
We played rock solid, and we knew they had to come through Salt Lake. You know, we have to come to Utah, and we like I said, we're happy about the way we played. I think we progressed in our game. I think we have some adjustment we made and give us a little bit more rhythm. There's more thing we need to keep cleaning up. But I think we played a really good game. It was a hard-fought game, and proud of the performance of the boys. Sergachev had 37.5 minutes of playing time tonight. What does he continue to do for this group as a rock-steady presence? Yeah, there's a lot of guys who have a lot of minutes, obviously, with the overtime. Schmaltzy as a forward, that's 30 minutes, so it's a lot. But I think we had contribution from everybody throughout the lineup. You know, if you look the overtime at that game versus the overtime at the other game, there were more player involved. There were everybody contributing. Even at 5-on-5, I think we had momentum and opportunity coming from different lines.
We've talked a lot about the experience of the guys that have played in big championship games and big moments like this. How do you feel like those guys are contributing when the moment gets really big like this?
Well, I think they're. It's a good question, but I think, like I just said, I don't feel there's anybody in our lineup who was not up to par tonight. I think everybody had a push. Everybody had a contribution. There's no such thing as a perfect game. There's no such thing than any of our players not making mistake. That's not what we expect. But if you look at their effort, if you look at their focus, at our urgency, our execution, I think we did a good job.
One of the big parts of this game was the 4-minute penalty kill. How good was the penalty kill, and how instrumental was it to get you to even double OT? Yeah,
you know, it's the special team are so important. You know, there's tonight, if you look, they have a goal on their PK, they have a goal on their power play, they have a goal at 6-on-5, and they have a goal on faceoffs. So, you know, that's a huge difference in the game, I can tell you that. So there's a lot of good thing we do. We score a goal as well on our face-off. Our penalty kill, like you just mentioned, kill there a lot of minutes, and but we give them maybe too many opportunity to be on the power play, and we need to. At 5-on-5, we're playing really good hockey, like we did all season long. Well, we need to make sure we're tuned in on every detail, and there's stuff happen. It's not necessarily because it's a special situation. Example, their power play goal, puck deflect on about everything in the building, get right on tape of 16 on the backside. What you want us to do? There's part of it is what it is. It's their 6-on-5 goal, the rebound come right on his tape. He's at the right place. He's going at the net. They put pucks on the net. They did the right thing. I'm not suggesting we didn't do what we had to do, but we need to find ways in those situations to be excellent.
Coach, 2 situations where you're able to kind of get your team to reset a little bit, whether it was after a timeout in the second period or even going into the intermission for overtime. What is kind of like the message there after you give up like situations like that where you give up a lead and then give up another lead again? So what do you talk to them about there?
Well, I think that was we played good, but at that moment in the second period when we had the timeout, we had a little slump for about 3 minutes where we didn't do the specific we need to do to be successful against Vegas. And right away you saw, as soon as we stopped doing it, they were coming. They were coming hard. So that was just to refocus everybody and make sure we were getting back into the plan and into the detail we need to do. We need to execute.
Are maturity and experience starting to play a factor in this series?
Well, I don't know how you saw the game. I saw we played a hell of a game. You know what I mean? So I'm so proud of the way we played, the way our guys played, the intensity, the pace we had. I have no complaints about it. Like I said, there's no such thing as a perfect game. There's still some detail we can clean up and get better. Talk about some special situation where we need to have an extra focus, but so proud of the way our team fought, our effort, our intensity, our commitment, our focus. Really proud of the boys.
Coach, you mentioned the effort and the intensity. How much, if any, did fatigue set in when you got to that second overtime? And did that play a factor at all?
It does offensively. You know, you don't have that little push to sometimes win the battle or cut inside or take the quality shot and stuff like that. You know, and that goes both sides. But yes, you know, you could see it a little bit on our power play. We didn't have the same pop. That's unfortunate, you know. But another thing we didn't talk about, but we were all talking about our start today. We had a hell of a start, you know. So the boys were really tuned in. I'm really proud of them.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll have more on the game on today's episode of Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcasts. Mike Folta and I will give you more reaction. We'll hear from Matt McConnell and Dominic Moore from our TV side, and get you ready for a Friday Game 6 before we re-greet you. Coming up Friday night, 7 o'clock, Hockey Night in Utah. Puck drops at 8. Join us on the SeatGeek Plaza before the game for all sorts of fun. More playoffs coming to the Delta Center coming up on Friday night.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good night's sleep.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.